strength. That was our topic this week in the Thumos community, where we're helping each other as men level up. 2 weeks ago we covered love, last week we covered light, this week we covered strength. The truth is, love stands alone. Love doesn't need light and strength added to it. It is light and strength. But we add those, so these are our core values in the Thumos community, love, light, and strength. But the truth is, we add light and strength for ourselves as men. They're guideposts on the journey of where we're going, to be better men, to serve our families better and our communities. They're really for us. But the topic this week was strength, and we talked about a whole lot of stuff, and I just want to share some key insights, some information. Hopefully some of this will land with some of you. Hopefully you can take and apply some of this, or at least give it some thought. All right, so strength, what does it mean? Why does it matter as men? Are men getting weaker today? Are they stronger? I would argue they're getting weaker, with exceptions. So let's talk about that. If we compare strength and hold it up to this concept of mind, body, spirit, and heart, we add heart to this within Thumos. Because the truth is, mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, soul, it's good stuff. It's a trilogy. It's beautiful. But we find that heart is critical and it's essential, and so many men are absent. They have not been in their heart for so long. And 4 legs of a stool is a lot more solid than 3 legs. So mind, body, spirit, and heart. So if we test strength sort of against this mind, body, spirit, and heart, starting with mind, how are we doing as men, as dads? How are we doing as far as being strong in mind? Are we controlling our thoughts, or are thoughts controlling us? I think a lot of men, if they just took their thoughts and put them out there and just really brought awareness to their thoughts, I think they would be shocked by how much negative energy that is costing that man. I think they would be very surprised. I think a lot of men are replaying patterns, spending energy on thoughts that do not serve them, compulsing, ruminating over and over about what's got to get done or should get done, or what happened, or an insult, or what somebody did do or didn't do or should have done. And I think it's just this ongoing cycle of negativity that is costing a man energy and joy. What if we didn't necessarily try to capture and crush those thoughts? What if we just put them in massive awareness? And I ask that question because that's how I've solved this in my own life. See, I was the guy that would ruminate and compulse, continuous, always thinking, not positive. Otherwise, I would have been happy. I'd have left it alone. It's the couldas and the shouldas and the wouldas. But I just put it in a whole bunch of awareness. And with enough awareness over time, they dissipated. They couldn't hide anymore. They were exposed. And those thoughts ultimately became less. And ultimately, they have almost gone away now, the negative thoughts, those that don't serve me. But nevertheless, I think a man should be strong. Strong enough to where his thoughts aren't controlling him and dictating his unhappiness. One more thing when it comes to mind and strength, I think a man ought to be clear on his focus and not let just any little anthill that's out there or thing that happened take him away from his focus. I think a man ought to be relentless on his focus. For me, it's helping other men, regardless of the outcome. It doesn't change my mission. I focus on the intention. On the intent, I focus on the action, what I can do, regardless of the outcome. I have no needs. In other words, my strength in mind, my focus is not dependent on how a man acts or reacts or what he does or doesn't do. It helps and it's nice and it's a bone and it's encouraging, but I'm unwavering with my focus. That has served me well and many, many men well. Remember, I was the C student that had to take algebra 3 times and ultimately ended up with a master's degree. I was the small kid that had to put in thousands of reps to gain the 40 pounds of mass, much of that being muscle. It didn't come easy. I was the guy that had to save, invest, and ultimately one day I went from broke to my first million. None of that came easy, but it was just this relentless pursuit, unwavering pursuit of what I wanted. What happens when enough men get clear with their focus, their outer purpose, their why, what they're meant to do, and they're strong in that area? It's pretty powerful. That's mine. When I think of body and strength, I think about all these men out there running around with dad bods and they're inflamed. And look, it's not about how good you look, although I think there's something to it, because I think there's a correlation, a connection with confidence and mojo, look, feeling, performing better. But I see the average man right now, maybe he's 30, 40, or 50, he probably can't do 10 push-ups. I don't think a man has to be able to do the extreme one-arm push-up with a kid on his back. It's cool, but I don't think that's necessary. But I think a man ought to be able to do 10 push-ups, or pull-ups, or dips. Strength matters when it comes to the body, but what I'm even more focused and concerned with is strength when it comes to health. A man knowing that he's healthy, that he's going to live long and strong and perform activities with his sons, with his daughters for a long time. I see men who are 6 foot plus, big guys, maybe they're a little bit pudgy, sloppy, whatever on the physical. It's not all about that. Where I get concerned is if I see their blood work, and I often do, and their triglycerides are through the roof, their lipids are insanely bad, and they didn't even know it. Their sugars are terrible. That man might be 40 and he's a ticking time bomb. That's not strength. That's anything but. Men can do better. And a lot of that can be accomplished with just some simple habits that are stacked every single day. Over time, those habits stack up. So strength in body, I think, is huge. When a man looks, feels, and performs better, he gets the mojo, he gets the Thumos back. The wife tends to notice and perhaps follow when he's worthy. The children see it. It's not about the spoken word often. It's about what the action that the man is doing. I think of strength in spirit, mind, body, spirit. A man ought to be unwavering in his faith. That AM routine, that morning ritual, that quiet time, that prayer time, that time with God. Look, we're going to go through shit. If we've lived long enough, it's going to get tough. But I think we need to be steadfast and strong in our journey. Remember, it's the tension, it's the struggles, it's the strife. Just like in the gym, that's what creates the strength. So many of my years, I tried to avoid the confrontation, the conflict, and the hard times. I welcomed it in the gym, but I wanted to avoid it in other areas. My faith, my relationships, my vocation. I wanted nothing but smooth sailing. I failed to understand that the strength is built under the tension. It's how diamonds are created. Go figure. When I think back of where I was from a faith spirit standpoint, say 10 years ago, it's funny, I give myself an 8. Now I give myself a 7 in the F of faith. And I've come so far. And maybe I'm lower than that. But my point is, I was strong, but I was very rigid. I was almost like a metal that was brittle. So strong, but I could snap very easily. Perhaps I was more like a pine tree, strong, not tall, but strong, but with a real good wind, man, I could snap, especially at the top. As opposed to being more like an oak tree. I would have I think I'm able to now have a little more sway and some give. I'm not as rigid, but I'm stronger than I was, and I'm going to be stronger tomorrow. I'm deeply rooted and planted. The metal that I refer to, perhaps I'm more like, instead of a metal that's brittle, maybe I'm more like a leather strap. Strong and tough, but flexible and pliable. So I think a man needs to look at what is his faith and what is his strength in faith. And is he at the point where he's steadfast enough and focused enough, not perfect, that's a joke, but progressing enough to lead his family in that area and set the tone, set the example. Because he really can't lead until he's worthy to lead. Who am I or who is another man to lead when they don't have that area figured out for themselves? So I think that matters. And then I take the sort of the fourth leg of the stool, the final perhaps, the heart. Mind, body, spirit, and heart. Strength and heart. I see so many men showing up on a Thumos weekend experience. And it's like a lot of these men have not been truly in their heart in years, sometimes decades. On the Friday night on a weekend, we pretty much put our seatbelts on. We accelerate, and we will take a man where he needs to go. We go to that man's pain, and we don't touch it and run away. We go to it and through it, because on the other side of that pain is beauty every time. It's the breakthrough. And that's what's going on with a lot of men. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been able to do prior weekends before Thumos and learn from some of the best. It's beautiful stuff, and what we've learned is you got to go to and through. And that's nothing but strength. And it's not easy. But on the other side of that, the reward, the payoff is tremendous. When we break through to that man, oftentimes there's tears. There's a lot of tears. But on the other side of those tears is an absolute smile, a happiness, a joy, a peace that a man hasn't felt in years, maybe decades, without exaggeration. Take a 60-year-old man that's been on a weekend, it might have been 2 or 3 decades since he's felt that kind of peace and joy, calmness, love, acceptance. And so when I think about this concept of strength and heart, it's about understanding that love is vulnerable. Love is going to hurt us, and we choose to do it anyway. Like, that is strength. Not experiencing or touching some pain and closing and contracting and running away and pulling back and saying, I'm never going to love again. And usually that's not verbal. It's more of an insidious shutdown. No. I'm going to get hurt, and I'm still going to love. People aren't going to respond the way I want them to respond to, and I'm still going to show light. I may not get what I think I need, but ultimately I don't have any needs because I'm stronger than that. I'm no longer needy. So to me, it's about being strong in heart. Being strong enough to get out of the head, which is a lot of times the place of the ego. And when we speak of ego and Thumos, we're rarely talking about pride. We're just talking about that false self, that operating system, those patterns that are protecting and earning and doing and what-ifing. And that's not all bad. It's just way overactive. So we've learned to kind of take that ego and say, I see you, man. Put you to the side, get you out of the head for a little while, and get you down about 18 inches into that heart. The place of true joy and love and peace and calmness. That's where the magic happens. That takes strength. So that's a lot of what we talked about, the concept of strength as it comes to mind, body, spirit, heart. And then we talked a little bit about, we could take that, we can expand it. We have 8 F's, faith, family, finance, fitness, focus, etc. Fun, friends. We can ask how we're showing up in all those areas. And we did. We just didn't go through it all. But where we chose to spend our time instead is to boil it down. How are we showing up strong in mission? Mission for us, specifically our outer purpose, our doing. There's the being and the doing. The being is realizing. It's getting the light. It's plugging in for ourselves. And then there's the doing. There's the sharing it with others. There's the shining that light on somebody else. Because when that lamp unplugs from source, the being, the filling up self, it tends to shine less and less until it finally goes out. So it's hard to shine light when you don't have your own light powered up, when your own batteries aren't charged up. Got to stay strong. So we talked about showing up strong in mission or outer purpose specifically. And remember, a lot of times that mission, that outer purpose, what that man is called to be doing outside in the world will end in an ing. Teaching, accounting, mentoring, coaching, problem solving, creating, writing. How are we doing as men staying strong in our mission? Unwavering, void of needs or results or actions or reactions from other people. But just staying steadfast and doing what's right in our outer purpose, no matter. We never know when those seeds, what we're doing is planting great seeds. And one day we'll look up and things have blossomed, they've grown. So that's some of the stuff that we talked about. It's about staying strong. As I look around the world today, I see a lot of men who, they're bigger in stature than ever, but in a lot of ways they're softer than ever. In a lot of ways they're weaker than ever. I believe that can be changed. I believe that men need a tribe. I believe that men need to embrace masculinity. Masculinity is always going to exist. It's like energy. Men may step back and become weaker, smaller, more beta. Women will tend to step up and become more assertive, alpha, stronger. Look around. But either way, you can't destroy the masculinity. And masculinity is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's just supposed to be pointed towards love, light, and strength as opposed to pointed towards darkness. So I'm going to do my part to help men get stronger, to live more lives of more centeredness and balance with love and light. I hope this video helps. If you like what you see, please share it with others. Consider subscribing. Click on that subscribe button there. Hit the bell too. That'll get you alerted every time that I have a new video come out. And I'll keep pushing these out. Have a great day.